LeBron James, now 40 years old, has yet to appear in a single game for the Lakers during the 2025-26 campaign. But according to ESPN's Dave McMenamin, the wait could finally be nearing its end, with James potentially stepping back onto the court as soon as next week. For a franchise that has been eagerly anticipating his comeback since opening night, this is the clearest signal to date that their superstar is closing in on full readiness. Before the season began, the Lakers revealed that James would miss the early portion of the schedule due to sciatica along the right side of his body, a condition known to affect mobility, stability, and explosiveness. He was officially reevaluated at the end of October, and since then has been steadily progressing through his recovery plan, building back strength and range of motion. This week represented the first truly decisive turning point. On Wednesday, James joined the Lakers' G League affiliate in South Bay for a controlled practice environment, the type designed to challenge a recovering player without overwhelming him. He returned again on Thursday for a second full session, this time participating in more intense team concepts and game-like drills. Dave McMenamin, who has closely monitored his recovery, reported that James is moving in the right direction, with every update pointing toward a legitimate breakthrough. A full participant. McMenamin detailed what occurred during Thursday's practice. He was a full participant. They ran full 5-on-5 drills, real competitive action, and he was able to move without any lingering pain in his lower back or the right side of his body. Now he's in a stage where, if this upward trend continues, he could take part in a complete practice with the Lakers on Monday, when they return from their 5-game road trip under head coach JJ Redick. And with a game on Tuesday, that suddenly becomes a realistic target. For the first time this season, McMenamin added, it's now possible to point to a date on the schedule and say, that might be the night we see LeBron James make his season debut. The Lakers are set to wrap up their road trip on Saturday against the Milwaukee Bucks, a demanding matchup even for a fully healthy roster. After that, they return to Los Angeles for Tuesday's game against the Utah Jazz, a contest that has now become one of the most anticipated early season matchups given James's potential return. Despite missing their 40-year-old superstar, the Lakers have played strong basketball under JJ Redick, posting a 9-4 record that places them 4th in the Western Conference. Their rotations have stabilized, their defensive identity has sharpened, and several role players have stepped into larger responsibilities. Yet there is no question, adding LeBron instantly elevates their ceiling and restructures the entire outlook of their season. Across his 7 seasons with the Lakers, James has averaged 26.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 8.1 assists. Elite numbers for any player, but particularly remarkable for someone deep into his 3rd decade in the league. When he finally steps onto the court this season, he will officially begin his 23rd NBA campaign, extending a record for longevity unmatched in all of basketball history. But beyond statistics, James's impact is felt in every possession. His leadership, decision-making, playmaking, and ability to manipulate defenses transform how the Lakers function. His presence forces opponents to adjust their schemes, creates cleaner looks for shooters, and brings stability to Redick's offensive structure. And while the Lakers have proven they can compete without him, the expectation across the organization is that his return will elevate their play to an entirely different level. Still, before that highly anticipated moment arrives, there's one more test ahead: Friday's matchup against the Bucks at 5 p.m. PT, where Los Angeles will aim to secure their 10th win of the season and close out their trip with momentum. After that, all eyes shift to next week, and the growing likelihood that LeBron James, fully cleared and finally free of pain, will step onto the court and officially begin season number 23, a moment the Lakers and the basketball world have been waiting for. The Los Angeles Lakers are heading into Milwaukee facing the kind of adversity no coach wants to see in the 2nd month of the season. A roster already stretched thin due to injuries has now absorbed yet another blow, one that further complicates an already challenging matchup against a Bucks team trending upward and playing some of its best early season basketball. The latest setback came just hours before tip-off. According to The Athletic's Dan Woik, veteran guard Marcus Smart, one of the Lakers' emotional leaders and a 3-time All-Defensive Team selection, has been ruled out with what the team is describing as a viral illness. Smart's toughness and intensity have been pillars of the Lakers' defensive identity since his arrival, and losing him removes a major component of the team's perimeter pressure and communication. Lakers status update: Marcus Smart, viral illness, out versus Milwaukee. But the bad news doesn't stop there. Los Angeles will once again be without LeBron James, who continues to deal with right side sciatica. At 40 years old, LeBron's availability is more precious than ever, and his absence not only strips the Lakers of their offensive orchestrator, but also the stabilizing presence that often holds the team together in tight stretches. Rui Hachimura is also sidelined. He's been managing soreness in his left calf, an injury that has lingered and disrupted his rhythm during a year in which the Lakers expected him to take a more prominent scoring role. Gabe Vincent remains out as well due to a sprained left ankle, leaving the team thin at the point guard position and forcing role players into expanded duties once again. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks aren't exactly at full strength either, though their situation is far more manageable. Starting point guard Kevin Porter Jr. is still working his way back from meniscus surgery on his right knee. Despite that, Ryan Rollins has stepped into the role with solid performances, showing poise and enough defensive toughness to keep Milwaukee's backcourt steady. They're also missing Taurean Prince, a trusted 3-and-D presence off the bench. Prince is recovering from surgery to address a herniated disc in his neck, and his absence removes one of Milwaukee's most dependable defensive pieces on the perimeter. And then there's the biggest name on the report, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The 9-time All-NBA superstar is listed as probable with patellar tendinopathy in his left knee. Even with that label, there's an argument to be made for resting him. Giannis played over 40 minutes in the Bucks' 147-134 overtime victory against the Charlotte Hornets in Friday's Emirates NBA Cup matchup, a high-intensity battle that required every ounce of energy from the former MVP. Yet even through fatigue, Giannis delivered a masterpiece. 25 points on 12 for 18 shooting, a staggering 18 assists, one of the most impressive playmaking nights of his career, along with 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Two-way players Alex Antetokounmpo and Pete Nance are currently with the Wisconsin Herd, Milwaukee's G League affiliate, giving the Bucks fewer immediate depth options as they navigate their own injury challenges. And then there's Kyle Kuzma, someone Lakers fans know all too well. Recently moved into Milwaukee's starting lineup by head coach Doc Rivers, Kuzma is coming off his most explosive performance of the season. On Friday night, he erupted for 29 points on 11 of 17 shooting, hit 2 of his 4 attempts from deep, controlled the glass with 10 rebounds, handed out 5 assists, collected 4 steals, and added a block. It was the kind of all-around performance that reminded everyone what Kuzma can do when he's playing freely and confidently, something the Lakers experienced firsthand during his years in Los Angeles. For the Lakers, the concern now is simple. With so many defensive anchors unavailable, do they have enough healthy bodies, let alone enough high-level defenders, to keep Kuzma from repeating that type of outing? And if Giannis decides to play, how do they absorb the impact of another superstar-level force without LeBron, without Smart, and without their full rotation? This matchup has quickly transformed from a standard regular season contest to a test of depth, adaptability, and resilience. Los Angeles will need near-perfect execution, elevated performances from its role players, and sharp adjustments from head coach JJ Redick to stay competitive against a Bucks team that has shown it can explode offensively even without its full roster. The stage is set, the stakes are real, and for the Lakers, this game will serve as a revealing snapshot of what this team can withstand when everything seems to be working against them. Few transactions in recent NBA history sent shockwaves across the league, quite like the early February blockbuster between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks, a deal that reshaped both franchises and instantly became one of the most talked about trades in modern sports. In that stunning move, the Lakers parted ways with former franchise center Anthony Davis, who no longer plays for the team, along with Max Christie and a first-round pick, receiving in return Luka Doncic, then just 25 and widely considered a generational offensive force with sky-high long-term value. For many fans and analysts, this was the kind of trade that redefines an organization's future overnight. The reaction around the league was immediate and intense. Commentators labeled it historic, unprecedented, and one of the most uneven trades the NBA has ever seen. Social platforms erupted, former players gave their takes, and front offices across the league were left stunned. Months later, the move is still being dissected and debated daily, and early results only amplified the shock. Luka Doncic began the 2025-26 season performing at a full-scale MVP level, scoring, creating, and leading Los Angeles with the exact superstar command the front office had bet on. With JJ Redick now guiding the team from the sidelines, the Lakers suddenly appeared modernized, energized, and aligned around a new long-term vision. Meanwhile, the Mavericks stumbled to a 3-9 start and soon found themselves without general manager Nico Harrison, who departed from his role amid growing pressure and organizational fallout. But while the public saw the blockbuster as a sudden jolt, new information reveals that the Lakers had laid the groundwork long before Dallas entered the picture. According to reporting from Brett Siegel, the Lakers quietly began exploring potential Anthony Davis trades as early as December 2024. These discussions were conducted behind closed doors, involving only Rob Pelinka and a tight circle of trusted executives. But even during these discreet conversations, major contenders such as the Celtics, Bucks, and Cavaliers signaled clear interest. Letting go of Davis was not a simple decision. Although he helped deliver a championship in his first season in Los Angeles, his durability concerns continued to hang heavily over the organization. Every injury setback forced the Lakers to reassess their long-term planning, especially with LeBron James, now 40 years old, nearing the final chapter of his legendary career. A new report from ClutchPoint's Brett Siegel added another layer to the story, growing internal concerns about Davis' conditioning habits and offseason preparation. According to the report, friction had developed between Davis's camp and the Lakers regarding the star's training, recovery routines, and the organization's expectations for injury prevention. One anonymous team source described troubling patterns. There were stretches in the preseason when we truly wondered if he'd trained at all during the summer, the source told ClutchPoints. He'd go through warm-ups, then either sit with the trainers or give half effort during team drills. It raised real questions. Those concerns became even more significant as the franchise confronted the reality of LeBron eventually retiring. Multiple team sources said the organization had doubts about Davis's ability to carry the Lakers into a post-LeBron era. That uncertainty was a decisive turning point. By December 2024, Pelinka quietly placed Davis on the market, reaching out only to a select group of teams to gauge his value ahead of a potential off-season move. At the time, Los Angeles was not pushing to complete an in-season trade. They were simply evaluating options and preparing for long-term scenarios. Some teams reportedly assumed the Lakers weren't serious about shopping Davis, but in Dallas, Nico Harrison recognized an opportunity. He understood the shift happening in Los Angeles and stepped in aggressively, ultimately offering Luka Doncic a move no other team could realistically match. One source described it plainly. Little did we know the Lakers made the same call to Nico and the Mavs, and once Luka was on the table, nobody else had a chance. From that point forward, events unfolded quickly. The trade was finalized, the league was stunned, and both franchises embarked on drastically different paths. For the Lakers, the move signaled a bold commitment to the future, a future powered by Luka Doncic and guided by JJ Redick, marking a clear new era in Los Angeles. For the Mavericks, it became a massive gamble that altered the franchise's direction and leadership structure almost immediately. And for Anthony Davis, it closed a complex, accomplished, and often turbulent chapter with the Lakers, ending not with a slow fade, but with one of the most dramatic trades the NBA has ever seen. Behind the scenes, the seeds were planted long before anyone realized. The blockbuster merely revealed what had already been set into motion.